Hey yo, this is 4G Ghana and my man Klinsky back again to review the Sunday clash between Arsenal going for the Premier League and Tottenham Hotspurs, of course, going for the Champions League places.
Yeah, it's very, very, very high stakes, and we are on the business looking at the analysis and preview before the big North London clash. So here we go.
Sure, yeah. Right now it looks like whoever loses the game is going to lose their claim of a chance for Arsenal. That will be bye for the Premier League pretty much, given how consistent Manchester City have been and how ruthless they seem to be. They're like a machine, Manchester City. They don't lose that many games. We saw how Arsenal fans were hoping that Brighton were going to do them a favor on Thursday night, but City just rolled them over 4-0, slapped them proper 4-0. Of course, Brighton have not been that consistent this season, but we expected a bit of a fight back. Same now, we expect City to go on and probably win the remaining games of the season. And so it's up to Arsenal now to make sure they win this game to get a result, not just a draw, but a win. Same with Tottenham. With the North London rivalry, they'll be very keen to dent Arsenal's title hopes in a big way, actually to end them at their home ground. And also, they're also keen to get the Champions League place, of course, fighting with Aston Villa for that coveted Champions League place, which comes with a lot of money. How do you think Gunners are prepared for this titanic clash?
The good thing about our squad at the moment is we're all very healthy. We have a very healthy squad. Even Urian Timber, who was out with an injury, is getting back into the fold and is currently training with the under-21s. So very healthy squad. So we have options.
We pretty much have everyone fit for this one.
Yeah.
That is exactly what Mikel Arteta will have wanted at this point of the season. And it's very rare to have a squad fit like that for the end of the season clash because, as we know, Tottenham are suffering with injuries and setbacks. We know someone like Udogie, their left back, is probably not going to be fit. He's actually been ruled out for this match. We know that they have Richarlison, who's a doubt for this match as well. It will be quite surprising to see him on the bench. So they do not have the same privilege as Arsenal with the kind of player that Arteta has to choose for this game. So I guess the Arsenal squad pretty much selects itself, isn't it, for this one?
Yeah, pretty much. Arteta has the freedom to choose his strongest squad. And if I were in Arteta's shoes, personally, I would continue with the same lineup that went up against Chelsea.
Agree.
It seemed to be quite solid, especially in the middle of the park, that Partey and Rice combination. Don't you agree?
Exactly. I mean, Partey, Rice, that's the way forward for Arsenal. Mikel Arteta was pretty chuffed after the match when he was being asked about this midfield combination. He's wanted to utilize it this season more, but of course, Partey has been injured most of the season. Now we are seeing that midfield flourishing towards the business end of the season. And we saw how Partey can hold the midfield and give that defensive protection. In fact, Rice can pretty much bomb forward without any worries. When you have Jorginho there, because we know Jorginho is technically gifted, but physically, in terms of running and his stamina, physical stamina is not as prominent as that of Partey. So when Rice tries to go forward when Jorginho is covering him, you see he doesn't commit himself fully forward. But when Partey is covering, you saw how Rice was bombing into the box, knowing fully well that he's covered. Odegaard as well. We saw Odegaard doing all his magic. He had his best game in an Arsenal shirt this season, arguably, against Chelsea. When he created almost 8 scoring chances. It was unbelievable. It was unplayable in that game. And that was because he knew Partey was behind him, mopping up, covering everything, anchoring that midfield and doing his job the way we know Partey can do ever so well.
And of course, up top from the midfield, I would still start with Trossard. Trossard is proving his worth and is proving quite consistent so far. Whenever he gets the chance, he seems to be our most accurate marksman up top at the moment. So I wouldn't leave him on the bench for this one. We also have Havertz. Havertz would be quite powerful up top, I believe, because one thing that he's been proving so far is that he's actually good on the physical side of things. So he can be a very good target man up top, and sort of feel like number 9 presence, you know. So I would start Havertz up top rather than the midfield. So I think he's more effective there. And then of course Saka on the right of the park, just because he always poses a threat on the field. He runs at people, causes trouble, and that's what we want. And the good thing is we have even more options on the bench in case that doesn't work.
Yeah, definitely. Our bench looks quite strong. We've got Jesus who can come off from the bench. We have Martinelli who can come on as well.
Yeah.
And in midfield, Jorginho can come and sort of buffer things up when we need that defensive shield towards the end of the game. But by and large, this game is going to be characterized by individual battles all over the field.
Yeah.
I know they've got a very strong defensive center. They've got Romero, they've got Van der Ven, and they've got Ben Davies on the right. On the left, actually, which is going to be Saka's wing. So Ben Davies, Saka is going to be a very interesting battle. I believe that one is one to watch, because I don't believe Ben Davies is as good on a one-on-one as Udogie. Udogie was injured, so I can expect Saka to have a bit of joy on that right wing. Similarly, on the other wing, where we've got Pedro Porro, I think it's going to be Trossard on that wing. Trossard is not very good at beating his man because he doesn't have as much pace. But I expect Martinelli to come on in the second half and cause a lot of trouble for Pedro Porro. I don't think he's got the pace to match Martinelli. At the center of the midfield, it's going to be very interesting to see how the battle goes on there, because we've got Maddison. Is a very creative player in the midfield. He's going to be coming up against Partey, of course, who's going to be anchoring, and Rice is going to be doing the tidying up there, of course, as well. And of course, their midfield as well is got Matassa, who's a very good young player. I quite rate him because he's got that stamina. He can run all over the pitch. And of course, Bissouma. Now, Bissouma has had an up and down season. He started the season really well. He was actually giving a lot of good performances in midfield, but his form has sort of dipped off a little bit. So by and large, that Tottenham 3 of Bissouma, Matassa, and Maddison, compared to our midfield trio of Partey, Rice, and Odegaard, I don't think there's a match there. In fact, if you are to combine those combined 11 for Arsenal and Tottenham, I think Arsenal will sweep all the midfield places, because I don't believe any of those other 3 players, Tottenham players, is better than the Arsenal trio on that midfield.
Yeah, for sure. And an interesting thing to watch out for as well. Tottenham's wingbacks tend to participate a lot in attack as well.
Yeah.
And we've been trying that a lot with Ben White as well. So it will be. I'll be keen to see which right back sort of wins, on the attacking front of things as well, or which one will have more leeway to do so. Do you think, as Arsenal going into this, do we go to trade punches from the onset, or do we go cautiously? How would you approach this?
No, you know how Arteta does is sets up his teams against teams that he respects, actually, especially away from home. I expect this to be very much an affair where we sit back. The same thing he did against Chelsea. You realize that Chelsea had more possession than Arsenal at Emirates. I don't expect him to go out and try to trade punches with Tottenham. That will be quite suicidal. I expect him to sit back, show the opponent some respect, soak up the pressure, and then try to hit them on the counter. I expect Tottenham to have the chunk of the possession, but by and large, I expect Arsenal to exploit any opportunity they have to go forward and to cause Tottenham a lot of damage on the counter attack. And that's where players like Martinelli coming off the bench will be very useful, as well as Jesus. I expect them to cause a lot of harm. Also, as you said, Tottenham tend to use their wing backs to attack.
Yeah.
And they also tend to play with a very high defensive line, which leaves a lot of space to be exploited at the back. I don't think Ange is sort of a purist. He's not a pragmatist. So he will tend to use the same tactics for every match. And that's one of the criticism that Tottenham fans have been aiming at him this season, that he doesn't seem to be pragmatic to sort of set up his team to match the opponent. And in this case, we expect him to play the same way. So there will be a lot of joy for Arsenal, for Saka especially, to run behind the defense, and for Martinelli when he comes on later on.
Yeah, and definitely more opportunities for Odegaard to exploit his range of passes as well. So I can't wait to see him slice that defense and all those open spaces that might open up with the high line.
Yeah, I expect Odegaard to have some joy in midfield, actually a lot of joy. I don't think Bissouma is at the level where he can shut Odegaard fully. I think Odegaard's got a trick or two in him, that dribble. He can really get past his man, and I expect him to cause a lot of trouble to that Tottenham defense, midfield and defense alike. And so, what's your prediction for Sunday in terms of the scoreline?
You know what, mate? It's a North London derby, so for this one it's very high stakes, and so I think it might be close. It might be quite close, just because I think everyone will be going at it with all their might. But I see Arsenal edging Spurs, just because they're stronger on paper. They have a healthier squad, so I predict an Arsenal win. And as far as scoreline, I would say probably 2-0. 2-0 to the Arsenal.
2-0 to the Arsenal. For my man Klinsky, this match historically has been a high scoring match, and I expect this North London derby to be the same. I expect White Hart Lane to be a proper atmosphere on Sunday, and I expect Arsenal to be up for the game. And my prediction is a 2-1 to Arsenal. I will not expect Tottenham not to score at the home ground. I think they'll put in a goal. So 2-1 is my prediction for Sunday. And let's see how it goes.
Let's see how it goes.
Thank you so much. And if you are new to this channel, please subscribe and please join us as we grow this channel together and make it a fantastic channel where you can get all your news, all your pre-match and post-match reviews, and everything Arsenal.
Yes, by the Gunners, for the Gunners.
Cheers. Bye-bye.